Can y'all hear me now?
Yeah. What happened? How you change it?
We're matching.
I forgot that I could go through my phone, so I'm just going through my phone.
We are live, you all.
Okay, welcome to What's the Tea? I'm Lysandra Hutchinson, the community outreach specialist for Southside, for South Suburban Family Shelter. Sorry. I also work at Southside Connections, which is a program that we're going to talk about today. But I'm here with the staff from Southside Connections, and we're going to learn about our staff, a little bit about them and what has brought them to this work, and then also get the tea on what's going on at Southside Connections. So welcome everyone. Be sure to grab your tea, share this video. What kind of tea are you guys drinking today? You have your tea? I know Alberta has some tea.
I'm gonna get my tea, the green tea. Mine is green tea.
Green tea, Calabash? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Peach passion.
You have peach, what is it, Alberta?
Passion tea. Peach passion.
Peach passion. Okay, nice.
It's good too.
Do you have green tea, Chantel?
So it's not green tea, but it's like a detox tea.
Okay, I like that. Very good. Okay, thank you guys for bringing your tea. So everyone, be sure to grab your tea, share this video, and we're going to get into the discussion about Southside Connections today. Some of you guys may remember that I did an interview. I was on the tea when we first started earlier in the spring, where I did talk about Southside Connections, and some of you may have watched that episode. But Southside Connections is a partnership between South Suburban Family Shelter and Apna Ghar, which is a domestic violence agency on Chicago's North Side. And so Calabash is going to kick us off by just giving us a little bit more information about what Apna Ghar is and how awesome they are. So Calabash, can you share with us about Apna Ghar?
Sure. Apna Ghar is a domestic violence agency. Was founded in 1980 as a volunteer basis. It was pioneering with 5 Southeast Asia's women committed to helping the clients and the growing population of the underserved immigrant survivors of gender and domestic violence. So they started in 1990 as a hotline, as a volunteer in their house. But as they saw how the need for domestic violence agency help and around immigrant is getting higher, in 1990 they needed a corporate as an organization. So they started our organization in 1990. So basically it was started as an immigrant and refugee service, but as we go through, we ended up the agency ended up serving everyone. There was no restriction before, but basically since the ladies identified what was the problem around their community, they started as a volunteer. So 30 years since it was started, now we serve about 400, 600, depending on the year, women to go through up on their feet again, and helping them with jobs, with counseling, legal, which my colleague legal is explaining, and we just help them survive and put up on their feet again from the abuser. So
okay, awesome, thank you. Chantel, did you want to add anything to that? Okay, so Southside Connections is birthed out of a partnership between Apna Ghar, which is on Chicago's North Side, and South Suburban Family Shelter. DHS recognized that there was a need for more domestic violence services in the Ashburn community, which is on Chicago's southwest side near Midway Airport. And so because of that gap in services, we have teamed up together to provide legal advocacy, free counseling, case management, and also community outreach services around domestic violence. So we're going to talk a little bit more about our services, but also have an opportunity to meet our staff and learn a little bit about their backgrounds. So who wants to go first with an introduction?
I will go before someone. Okay, my name is Calabash. I am from Apna Ghar. I started Apna Ghar in February 2016. Prior to that, I was a corporate worker, and I my my education by background is finance. I did work about like 15 years in that area, but finally at the end of it, that company downsized, and I can't say I was just um, joined Apna Ghar by accident, because I was just looking for a job, because how do you go from finance to social work, So I went just because look, I have to find a job now. I have to. But once I get it, I just fell in love, and it was just very rewarding, helping people whenever you can. And I love it. And I have been almost 4 years past. It will be 5 years in 2021. So
Awesome.
as I worked as a shelter advocate. I was in the shelter before. So when we get this funding with Southside Family Shelter, I have been offered to coordinate the office and do the case management. In January 2020, we opened the office, and I start working there since then. So
Awesome. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Chantel and Alberta, you guys look so excited.
Stop. Okay, you want me to go next? Okay. My name is Alberta Powell. I am the adult victims counselor at Southside Connections. And in my current position there, I assess the women who come in for services by obtaining information from them in order to find out what's going on in her intimate partner relationship. Now, gathering that information is going to allow me to find out exactly how safe she is, because safety is paramount. We have to know that she is safe in order to proceed in the counseling process. So, in ongoing counseling sessions, I might go ahead and provide education on what the abusive relationship looks like, and I will let her know that abuse comes in several forms, not just physical. I've had women come in and not really be knowledgeable that she's in an emotional abusive relationship. And I mean, you just seeing the expression on their faces, oh, he's been emotionally abusing me all these years. Well, yeah, you know, and sometimes that happens, but there are ways to get around it. So I like to encourage them to talk about what a healthy relationship consists of. So counseling sessions are for women to obtain the knowledge, as well as to talk about troublesome situations that they may be in. So when she comes in for counseling, I will meet her where she is. And that means that there's no judgment whatsoever. I've heard all the stories you can imagine, and this is just part of the human condition. So I've been in this helping profession for the last 20 years. I started out as a licensed professional counselor, then I went to a certified alcohol and drug counselor, and now I'm at a certified domestic violence professional. So I'm wearing a few hats, and I am loving it. I just love what I do. So that's it for me.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay. Hi, guys. My name is Chantel Eisen, and I'm a legal advocate from Apna Ghar. I've been in the domestic violence field for about 4 or 5 years, but I've been at Apna Ghar for about a year under wearing the legal hat. So that's a little bit about me.
Okay. And just a little bit about me, although I've been on What's the Tea before, but I'll just briefly just give my background again. I'm Lysandra Hutchinson, Community Outreach Specialist for South Suburban Family Shelter. And I started working in domestic violence or violence prevention as a volunteer as a teenager. And founded an organization where we started to implement teen dating violence workshops in the city of Chicago for girls our age. And then I started to work at, and I worked at the Illinois Center for Violence Prevention, coordinating a program for girls where we helped them to create their own youth-led actions in the community to tackle issues of violence that they cared about. And then I did some independent consulting around youth development and violence prevention. And then I started working at South Suburban Family Shelter as a medical advocate. I think that was in 2014. I left to get my master's degree and then came back last year in this capacity doing, I'm on a part of the community education team, and then I'm also a part of the Southside Connections team. So it's a pleasure. We want to talk a little bit about the importance of your role. So when you really think about it, Apna Ghar and South Suburban Family Shelter decided that the key roles for this new office would be someone to do outreach, someone to do counseling, someone to do legal advocacy, and someone to do case management. And I think that those choices are significant because they speak to how important these particular services are for someone that's experiencing domestic violence. It also speaks to the multifaceted impact that domestic violence has on a person's life, right? So if you guys can talk a little bit about like what is the significance of someone experiencing domestic violence having a legal advocate or a case manager or a counselor, and what you've seen in your work, the impact of that type of service has had on the lives of victims and survivors.
Yeah, I'll go.
Oh, yeah. All right, go ahead, Calabain.
Okay, so as I said, I'm a case manager and a coordinator. So case management is, I think it's needed because it's through case management we can really accomplish human needs, as basic needs for human life, which is, finding a job, housing, education, health. So basically, it's just a life needed for a human being. So basically, case management is just gives them the resources to find a job, to housing, and to education and health. So I am just providing the service and gives them, like the resources and where to go. It's basically just helping them going through life, for the survivors. Because like I said, like it's a human life, because if you don't have a job, if you don't have money, you don't eat and survive, sometimes in order to work, you have to be healthy. So they needed some healthy resources. And education, sometimes you have to, especially like since I priorly from before Southside, we work with a lot of immigrants and refugees. Language is very important. So that is I need to find them resources for schools so that they have to learn. So we all that up together as a human need. I believe it's a basic need for human life. So we just give them resources, support them. Sometimes we do have emotional support to provide. So I think that's it as the case manager for human.
Yeah. So on the T, we've talked a lot about obstacles to leaving abusive situations or abusive relationships on different episodes. And so I think that what you're saying, it really speaks to dealing with some of the obstacles to why a person would stay or feel like they were not capable of leaving or that they didn't have the resources, right?
Exactly. Exactly. So through case management, you have like, I think Alberta said earlier, through case management, maybe she's not thinking she can work because she's just in an abusive relationship. She thinks that's normal to stay. It's normal for him to do whatever and make the money. But through the case management, I can make her understand, she can find a job. She can just do by her own. She can do whatever she can do without anyone else. So through case management is a lot of accomplishment by, communicating with the survivors and explain to them. Most of them don't know what to do, especially like since you're dealing with an immigrant, they come in and there is no way for them except being just listening for his abuse or, getting hit or just financial control, emotional, a lot of problems. So through case management, I can make her understand she can do it and then empower her for the future.
Awesome. And so when a person comes in to talk to you, what is the process of connecting with you and receiving it?
Yes, the process is like, first of all, we have a hotline, they call hotline, and we assess, is it really, she's really going through, and just listen to what she is going through and find out if she had a domestic violence or gender violence victim. That's first thing.
Okay.
And then usually they have like, I don't know what to do. He's doing that, or step by step explain, like Alberta said, it's not healthy, even though the case management, sometimes I do that like a counselor. So I explain to her, this is not a normal situation. You can, if you want, we can help you to go through it and survive and, empower and help yourself and your children.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of problem is just communication and just having that relationship so that she can trust us and, be open and just give us, let us know what she needs and going from there.
Okay, awesome. Are there any specific like identification that a person needs to bring? Do they need a written referral if they want to come see you, or is it just calling the hotline?
Calling the hotline, and basically you will, like, because we specialize in domestic violence, maybe she needs some others. For example, if she needs like mental health, we refer her to a mental, because we don't have that capacity.
Mm-hmm.
But it's strictly like a domestic violence. Once we identify, I took the hotline, and then we schedule an intake,
Mm-hmm.
and she will be a client. There is no need of applying or any paper. We might need some for referral, some ROI, like reason of information in order
right.
to talk to her on behalf of her somewhere else. That's the only thing we need. After she's like, we don't do anything documented, undocumented, have green card, have ID, nothing. Just being like someone with a problem is just qualifies them to help. Yeah.
So there's not a lot of barriers to getting the services.
No,
not
a lot of
yeah.
No ID. So once she get in, we do have her sign ROI, because we have to talk someone on behalf of her. That's the only thing. We do some. I can have some ID. Most of the time, since they are immigrant, we'll have their passport.
Mm-hmm.
And stuff like that, unless you have ID. But sometimes they get ID, but the abuser don't give them, because he's holding, it's like as holder, he hold her by keeping her passport and her her paperwork, her documents.
Mm-hmm.
But we just go through around them. We have our way of just judging them who's available, because you will know, when you communicate, when you talk to people, you will know.
Okay.
Just
awesome.
by communicating. So
awesome. Okay, Chantel and Alberta, can you give us like a little bit about the significance of the services you provide in the life of a victim survivor?
Okay, excuse me. Counseling services are focused on change. Basically, I go from the premise of you don't know what you don't know. And that's why I like to educate my clients, because as I mentioned before, some don't even know they are experiencing a certain type of abuse. So on that level, we will develop a treatment plan together. And the treatment plan is standardized. It comes in the form of different goals, and some of the goals are to understand the DV dynamics that are present in her life, to set better boundaries and to assert herself. She can also identify healthy versus unhealthy relationship aspects. That's a very important one. And we also look at how to better coping mechanisms for dealing with the aspects of abuse. It's not, well, I'm not going to say easy. It's difficult trying to maintain a level of calm and peace when you're involved in a domestic violence relationship. And I feel that by the time the women come in, they are so emotionally drained until they're really ready to look at how they can change to make their lives better. And I get women who come in voluntarily, and I also get women who are referred to us by DCFS. So I find that, all the women that come in have different stories, and I have to, as I said before, I meet them where they are and we go from there.
Okay, awesome. Ms. Chantel, can you break down legal advocacy for us?
So having access to a legal advocate is really significant for DV victims because a lot of the times the victim don't know where to go for help. They don't know what legal rights that they have. They don't know the options of getting an order of protection, and let alone they're intimidated by going to get an order of protection, or a lot of times the victim do not have that support while going to court, like if the court case has already been established. And sometimes it's not just for order of protection. It could be for custody, it could be for divorce. So a lot of the times, well, not a lot of the times, most of the times I see women or men go in and they get chewed apart even as being the victim, because they don't know how to speak up for themselves. They've had somebody do it for a very long time for them. So that's when I come in as a legal advocate, filling that gap between the justice system and the client, or simply being that moral support for you of just wanting somebody to be with you during this process.
Yeah.
So it's very significant to be able to have a support system there with you.
Yeah. I used to volunteer at 555 West Harrison at the DV courthouse downtown, and I just felt like the legal advocates, court advocates were so significant in that moment, especially when abusers were present in the courtroom.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Very intimidating, looking over, seeing the abuser, seeing the lawyer, seeing his family that came to speak on his behalf, or, just whatever the situation may be, is very intimidating.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay, awesome. So thank you guys for sharing that. Just to understand a little bit more about you guys as staff, what really inspired you to do this work, to do this kind of work? What's your main, or what keeps you going? What's your main motivation?
Well, I know I have always had the desire to be in a helping profession. I didn't know which one I wanted. And I guess that comes from seeing my mother go to work. She was a licensed practical nurse. And I knew that wasn't for me. No, I didn't even want to go to the hospital for myself, let alone to become a nurse. But I did know I wanted to be in a field where I could help someone. And I really didn't know what I wanted to do or what I wanted to be when I grew up until I got into mental health and substance abuse, as well as domestic violence. So I knew I had seen a lot of all three, growing up in the neighborhoods and things of that nature. And I just wanted to figure out who and how can help people who have problems like this. So it sort of just all came together. And here I am today.
Yeah, for me, it's like I explained earlier, I didn't have any need at all. Like I said, it's by accident. But once when I get into this work, it's the rewarding part make me, uh, you helping someone. It's not really measured by money, measured by anything, but it's just as a job, it's just very rewarding to help someone. So that's what I'm enjoying, and it's just my motivation to continue.
I think I'll piggyback on both of you guys. I just always knew I wanted to help people. And growing up, seeing my older sisters and my mom in certain situations, I just knew I wanted to do something different. So about 4 years ago, when it was time for me to graduate college and I had to choose an internship, I chose domestic violence because I had to get in and do my internship to graduate. But what I didn't expect was once I got in to really find my passion with helping victims of domestic violence, people that cannot help themselves, people that have been bullied and manipulated. It just means the world to be able to help them find their own voice.
Mhm.
So that's what keeps me coming back. And a lot of the times in a legal aspect, I do hit roadblocks with clients because sometimes it's not it's white and black as it should be. You know, you think, oh, she's a victim, so she's going to get what she need. That don't happen all the time, but it's still those cases to where I can't help somebody get what they want. And they do come back and say, hey, I'm okay. I graduated or I never went back. That's what keeps me coming every day.
Wow, that's awesome. That segues into my next question. For me, like I said, I started doing some type of violence prevention work as a teenager, which kind of just seemed like a coincidence. I had started a group with my friends. Really, we were trying to throw a party, y'all. We were trying to make money. And one of the girls that was in the group met a woman from the Illinois Center for Violence Prevention at a workshop at Navy Pier. And the woman approached her. She was talking about our group, and the woman said, "Well, I work at an agency that's looking for groups of girls who want to write a grant to receive funding to do their own violence prevention actions in their community. Would you and your friends be interested?" And so we didn't even know what that meant. We were like, "Sure, we'll do that." So we did that and got that grant. And that's kind of what got me on this track of like just being involved in the nonprofit sector as I got older, knowing of friends that had been in domestic violence relationships, had experienced domestic violence in their relationships, and seeing how universal the problem was and seeing how it crossed all socioeconomic, all gender, all class, educational statuses, and really was a global issue. I just thought this is such a huge phenomenon. Like this is huge, and it made me more interested and want to understand it from every aspect, like the legal aspect, the psychological aspect, the community aspect, all of it, the prevention aspect. So that was why I delved more deeply in domestic violence. But Chantel, your last point made me think of that segued into another question I wanted to ask you guys. Since we've been doing our work at Southside Connections, what are some of the most maybe challenging or inspirational moments that you had working with clients?
Mm.
You can go, Alberta.
Oh, well, I'm looking, I guess I want to say challenging because while we're here to help people, I mean, there's no way we can get them to follow some sort of path, okay? Meaning that we can put it out there. Hopefully, they'll stay safe, do what they need to do in their day-to-day lives. But I guess I'm getting to, if we don't hear from a client, it just makes you wonder what happened, because we know that domestic violence can be violent for some people, or you want to think that, well, they made the changes that they needed to change. They no longer need us. You don't want to go towards anything that's really, you know, devastating, to say the least. But I don't know. I don't. I guess I'm just rambling on. But I just wanted to know everything is okay with the client, and when I don't hear from them, that can sort of knock me off my track for a minute. But everybody has their right to do whatever they want to do. I'm just hoping that things work out for my clients. So that's my challenge.
Yeah, not hearing back from them
I think I can second Alberta as far as challenge. It's okay if they call you, oh, I don't need your service because I am okay. But if you don't get a phone call back, and when you call they don't answer, it's really worrisome because you don't know what happened. Because domestic violence can happen anywhere. He can or she can follow him or her on the streets. She can, everywhere she goes. So
Right.
it's okay if they don't want our services because they have it's their right. But if they just don't answer the phone, it's really very worrisome. So
So that's
yeah,
some of the
that's
challenges of doing this work in general, because nobody's like required to reach out or to continue to reach
correct.
out. And so
Right.
sometimes we can worry about what's going on if you don't hear back from a client. Um, how do you guys deal with that in terms of self-care? How do you handle that?
Um, do a little mindfulness.
Mhm.
Just stay in the present. Not try and take too much on. Just hope for the best and go on. That's it.
I do.
I just think. Go ahead, Chantel.
Well, I was going to say, I do have a story, a challenging story that comes to mind. One of my clients is a guy, and he's the victim. And a lot of the challenges we've been coming across is that a lot of people do not take him serious. So even when I reach out to try to find him representation, or he has to go to court, people look at it like, oh, he's just a guy. Why is he complaining about a woman hitting him and he's the guy? So it's stereotyping, and we just keep running into brick walls. So it's very challenging. And right now I'm experiencing where he's kind of feeling defeated. So he hasn't been in contact with me for the last few weeks. And so I reach out through email and just send him encouraging words. I still send him referrals and resources and stuff like that. But it has been a few weeks that I have not heard from him. But then I do have a success story where I worked with a woman, and when we started last year working with her, when I first got at Apna Ghar, we she didn't have anything. And currently today she has a job, she has childcare, she has custody of her kids, and we just got her a divorce last month. So, those are remembering that kind of is my self-care to say like, hey, we can do this. It's hard and they may start at 0, but we can get to 100 if the client is willing, because like you said, we cannot force them to seek their help. And statistics show a victim is going to go back to his abuser at least 7 times before they actually are ready to make that adjustment and really fully leave. So I like reading books. I got little kids I play with. I like collecting wine. I do bubble baths, all kinds of stuff to where I can just zone out and leave work at work when I need to.
Alberta and Calabash, do you guys have any what are like maybe some success stories or breakthrough moments to share?
Um,
I mean, I do
well,
have a successful
okay.
story. I can tell because she's not on Southside. She's one of my clients from Southside. When I first met her, she doesn't speak English. She had 3 or 4 months of her child, which he kept when he threw her out of her house. And she came to us and with no language. We just, even sign language, it doesn't, because this woman never go out of the house since she
Yeah.
came to this country. And on the top of that, she used to breastfeed, so her milk was just bothering her for 3 days. And until our legal advocate group went and get her the baby and some of her stuff. And then once she gets the children, she gets okay, and then we start helping her going through. So that's like 2 years ago. It was just a long time. But now she's speaking English. She is working. Her kids
Mhm.
are in the daycare, and she's in our transitional housing. And now she is approved for another housing program for 2 years.
Okay.
So I mean, that's my success story. I just really cannot stop talking about her. She's really very wonderful now, empowered, and being up for
Wow.
by herself. So
Yeah. Wow. That's awesome.
yeah.
That's awesome. Alberta, did you want to share one?
Sure. I'm currently working with a young lady who was referred to me, and she has children that needs counseling also. Well, due to some snafu, she couldn't get the children into counseling because, well, one, because of COVID, and two, there was just some miscommunication. Well, she told me last week that she was overjoyed because everything is working out, and based upon her children's counseling, she'll be able to reunite with her husband. So I think that's a
All
success.
right. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
and she's been
Yeah.
very compliant coming to see me every week. So I really foresee her as doing quite well in the future.
Okay. And so with that point about COVID-19, how has your work been impacted? How has our work in the office been impacted by the pandemic?
Oh gosh.
Oh God.
Well,
Yeah.
I have clients who still come to see me. I guess depending upon what's going to happen in the city in the future, if we don't have to shelter in place again, they'll continue to come. Or, we have the doxy as far as uh, meeting with them through our devices, computers, phones, or whatever, or even phone sessions. I have a couple who like to do phone sessions. So, I mean, COVID slowed things down, but not to a stop. So I can still do sessions with people.
Yeah.
Providing telehealth, even if they're not in person. Right now they can come in person, but if we start to shelter in again, you'll be providing telehealth appointments via
Yes.
phone or
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah.
Kelvin, Chantel.
Yeah, it's the same with me
Mhm.
because as you know, para Southside Connection office opened. We opened in January, like fully open. Although we're
Mhm.
starting slowly, we open in January. We're planning a lot of things, and the end of February, COVID hit in. So
Mhm.
we just closed in March, so we couldn't just build a lot of clients. But however, with COVID, we just continue to serve virtually, either Zoom or FaceTime, like email. So we're still serving, but it has been hard, because sometimes face to face is, sometimes it could be important and very, but
Right.
we're missing that, but still we're just doing, to try to provide services virtually.
Yeah. Yep.
Continue.
Absolutely. So you guys are also case management is also providing the virtual services. You've been doing
Yes,
that
we
during
do. Yeah.
COVID. Yeah.
Yeah, we
Now you're
provide
in the
we email
office.
resources, we phone call, check, if what are they doing, what do they need this time,
Mhm.
uh, like share a lot of resources, especially during the closure. A lot of clients needed grocery, a lot of clients needed clothes,
Yeah.
so we share and just make that happen. We have a lot of agencies who can deliver food to our clients, so we work through that. But
Mhm.
we didn't stop working, but it's just
Mhm.
in a different situation. It's just a new normal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So
And it's the same with you, Chantel, is right in terms of
So
your
so legal advocacy took a real big hit because I could no longer go into the courtrooms with the clients. It took a big hit because you can go into the police station, but they actually are doing orders of protection over Zoom as well. So it looks really different. And we ran into a lot of roadblocks with trying to go to court on Zoom. You know, did you get the right link? Does the link work? Do you have connection issues? Like, it's just horrible. We still can't get it done, but it does look really different during the pandemic.
Okay. And so as we're moving forward, I think what's great is that we've still adapted and kept going, regardless of those roadblocks and some of the challenges. You guys are still just dedicated and showing up and there. If you can be in the office or doing this from home, if you need to do it remotely. So I think that, you know, the point is these services are still available. They're still free, confidential. And all of you guys are still available to continue to work in the capacity that you've been working in, which is amazing. As we're moving forward, what are some things that you guys are looking forward to with Southside Connections in our work?
I mean, I was looking forward to build our clientele because, you know, like I said, as soon as we start building the client, we closed, and it's just really, even though we do the outreach online, you know, we attended like some tabling, we attended some organization, but it just slow us down. So, I mean, you know, we're just looking for to build our clientele so that helping more people.
Yep. Okay.
Same thing, her. I'm just ready to get working, get clients coming in, getting people the help that they need. I'm just excited to get it going.
Absolutely.
And I too confirm with my colleagues. Yeah, we're just raring to go here, see what happens.
Absolutely. So we had a really good meeting last week where we all were able to be on a call with one of our partner organizations that serve young women, like late teens, early 20s. It was just really dynamic because we got a chance to talk about Southside Connections. Each one of us got a chance to talk about the services that we provide. And some of the coordinators of that program let us know that their young women were so comfortable with us because they were opening up, they were talking, they were asking questions. And they let us know, like, they don't normally do this. You know, this is kind of out of the norm for this group. So they must really feel like they're connecting. And they were really engaged with the content. We provided a training around domestic violence for them and the dynamics of domestic violence. So I felt like that was a great moment. And I think it speaks to the fact that we are continuing to strengthen our partnerships. We are continuing to make new partners, create new partnerships, even though a lot of it is virtually and not in person. And then that brings us to our announcement about our meet and greet. Anyone want to announce the meet and greet?
Go ahead, Lysandra.
Go ahead, Lysandra.
I was going to say, go ahead, Chantel. I was going to make you a whole commercial for the meet and greet. Okay. Go ahead. She is so funny. Okay. Well, Southside Connections is hosting a virtual meet and greet, guys. And this is going to be held on December 2nd. It will be via Zoom from 2 to 4 p.m. And you'll have an opportunity to network with other providers, other agencies, and those that are in the Ashburn community and abroad, or, you know, not abroad, but and other places as well throughout the city. And it's just going to be an opportunity to hear more about our services, to connect with our staff, and then to connect with other people that are passionate about doing domestic violence work, and people that we talked about. Sometimes you need to find the folks that don't provide a service that you do provide, and that you provide a service that maybe they don't provide, so that you guys can learn how to dovetail those services and to work in tandem to help clients. So we're hoping to make those kinds of really significant and impactful connections. And we are going to be sending around an email invite. And if you want, you can also connect with us. Can someone give the number to the office?
Okay, it is 773-697-3272.
Okay. Can you say it one more time?
773 697 3272.
Okay. And so if you want to know more about Southside Connections, if you're interested in being a part of our meet and greet, or if you want to come in for services, or if you want to refer someone to the office for the services, that's the number that you would call. Or you can also call the 24-hour hotline number. Does somebody want to give the hotline number? Or usually we put that in the chat. So
Yeah, you can put it in the chat.
yeah, we can add that to the chat. Are there any other updates you guys would like to add before we go to the chat in the comments section?
No.
Okay. Okay. Angie, are there any questions in the comment section?
Yes. So first, I just want to say I really enjoyed today. I know I should look here. Go. I really enjoyed today. It was really nice to hear from you, Tom. But yes, you actually do. Also, I want to say the phone number for Southside Connections is in the chat for you all, just to let you know.
Thank you. Thank you.
And so the question that we have, okay, what role does professional peer support play in supporting you in your work? So what role does professional peer support play in supporting you in your work?
Okay.
Chantel, go ahead. We talked about it this morning. Because, yeah, we're talking about like how stressed we are, how, sometimes, things doesn't happen. So she's like, we need some counseling. So, like someone who help us with mindfulness, seriously, mindfulness, tell us, okay, you're going to go through it because it's really a stressful job. It's very stressful. So if someone would help us like some mindfulness or relaxing techniques, that would be appreciated. And we can arrange some like thing as this one, with some professional give us some, insights, how to maybe relieve some pressures, how to relax after like have a conversation with a client. Maybe you hear all this, negative stuff and how she's going through it. It gets into you. So, if any professional can help us, we can just do a Zoom meeting or anything for the future.
Right.
Anyone else touching? We got good with that one? Because that's actually our only question as of now. You all have a lot of engagement in here as far as comments and appreciation for the work that you all do, as well as the individual stories that you all gave. It's a lot of appreciation in this post. So please make sure after you all go check it out. I know I could be on here reading all the comments and people might start getting mad at me, but you all have a lot of love in here. But that is our only question as of right now.
Yeah. I also think what I appreciate too is sometimes Apna Ghar has their own, staff meetings, all staff meetings, and the Southside Family Shelter has all staff meetings. Sometimes those are also outlets for learning more about self-care, vicarious trauma, how to deal with that, learning about what your peers are doing at the agency. And then we also are building that camaraderie and that type of support through our full staff meetings that we have with our managers that manage the Southside Connection satellite. So I think, having the opportunity to share, to bounce ideas off of each other, and just to plan and collaborate. So I think that's also helpful in terms of peer support. Also during the pandemic, we've been a part of so many webinars, and so many different, oh my goodness, we've watched a lot of webinars. So I think in a lot of ways too, that offers some professional peer support as well for doing this work. Yeah.
Well, I know on our end, that's all the questions that we have.
Okay. Thank you, Angie. Okay, so I just want to thank you guys for being on this. I know you guys are not used to being, out in the forefront on the camera, on the Facebook Live like this. So thank you for being willing to be a part of this interview, and to share your background, the work that you're doing, the impact that you're having, and then also the updates around Southside Connection. So again, if you are watching this, share this video. You know someone that needs this information. The number to our office is in the chat. So make sure you share the video, like it, love it, refer people to the office. These are ladies who are eager to work, eager to serve, eager to make a difference in the lives of those that are being impacted by domestic violence. And so we just want to thank you for watching. Make sure that you are with us next week at 2 p.m. We will be back with What's the Tea, another amazing interview. And thank you very much for watching.
And thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank
Thank you,
you,
Latifah.
guys.
Thank you very
Bye,
much.
guys.
Bye. You have something?